So, a new toy to play with as part of a new project I'm starting. But before I get into that, I need to give a little bit of background here. So, I have two girls, and the younger of them has a lot of medical problems. Among other things, she's in a wheelchair. And at Halloween time, her costumes are always kind of disappointing. Whatever you dress her in, she's covered up by the straps in the wheelchair. And then, since moving back to my native northern climate, it's quite cold by Halloween time, of course, end of October, and she gets chilly easily, so she's covered up in blankets, and basically you can't see any of her costume, and effectively her costume becomes kid in wheelchair, which is not a great costume, and it's the same every year. Maybe you can see some sort of thing on her head or whatnot, but it really doesn't work. So I saw two things recently. They gave me an idea for a new thing to do. The first was, there's a great new show on ABC here in the States called Speechless. And it's about a family with a special needs kid. They have two typical kids, and one kid, JJ, has cerebral palsy, and he's in a wheelchair. He also doesn't speak, hence the title of the show. But it's a really funny show, and it kind of hits close to home for me, so I enjoy it. But the Halloween episode had something great in it. And what this family in the show does is that they do a family costume. So they're all part of the same theme, whatever it is. And this year they were doing Back to the Future. So all the family, different characters. JJ was the Michael J. Fox character in Back to the Future, whose name I don't remember the character's name, but anyway, the main character in the movie. And they converted his wheelchair into a DeLorean. And I thought, oh, what a brilliant idea. Don't make a costume just for the kid, make a costume for the combination of the kid and the chair. And so that was a great idea, I thought. The second thing I saw, actually, let me, at this point, I'll edit in a picture of the costume, if I can, of the JJ's DeLorean. Okay, so the second thing I saw was at my other daughter's school. They had a Halloween function, and one of the kids here, they all came in their costumes. My favorite costume was this little bitty boy in like the classic low-budget sci-fi movie robot outfit, homemade, cardboard box covered with tinfoil, and like the dryer vent for the arms and legs, and really cheesy and wonderful. And of course, nowadays it's been upgraded with, he had LED lights all over him that were blinking like, it was great, and some reflectors in the back. And not only was it a great costume, but I thought, oh, what a good idea! This is not only this lighting on this robot costume not only is part of the costume, but it's also functional because, if you're walking around in the dark at night, there's always the safety issue of cars not seeing you and so on. So incorporating the lighting that works both as an element of the costume and as a safety feature, I thought that's a really great idea. So putting these together, I thought what I ought to do is make for next year, and I'm getting an early start on this because it's kind of a big project, is to make a vehicle costume for my daughter's wheelchair, basically. And I thought, well, if I do a vehicle, then it can have lighting on it. I can put in some headlights that'll help light the path in front of us. That'll be great. Maybe get some of those really cheap bicycle headlamps you can get off of Banggood and all sorts of other places, eBay. I have to look at those options. Or maybe there are some LEDs, USB lights that might mount into something and work like headlights, have them kind of aimed down a little bit, like the path. And I could power those off of a couple of USB power banks, or maybe one big USB power bank. Anyway, I can do something with headlights. That'll be good. And then I also want some kind of warning lights as well. Well, what kind of vehicle can I make that has warning lights? Obvious choices are police car, fire truck, ambulance, something like that. Well, my family, my dad is a volunteer firefighter. My uncle is a volunteer fire chief. I think he's retired now. And there's a long history of firefighting in my family. So that was kind of the obvious choice. So I'm going to make a fire truck, make my daughter's wheelchair into a fire truck. And that'll be, I think, a really neat costume. So I got this to play with. There were a couple different items I've ordered to try out. They're pretty inexpensive off of Banggood. The second one was back ordered. It's a different option. But this one came in, so I'm going to take a look at it and see how it's going to work. It says LED flashlight. It's not really what it is. It's warning lights for a vehicle. And these are supposed to be red. All right, get some screws, got the control box, and we've got 4. I apologize for that noise. Let's get rid of that. 4 sets of lights. Now these are meant to be like grill lights, like you put them in some sort of pattern in the grill of a vehicle, I think. These were like $20. I'll link to the listing in the description. I think they were between $20 and $25 shipped. These are not like super high quality things. I don't think these are the kind of thing any real fire department would use, but maybe a volunteer fire department would use them, or maybe somebody who just kind of wants to be an impersonator or something would use them. I don't know, but I think they're going to work for me as lights. And what I plan to do is to make them into sort of a light bar. I figured I could put 2 and 2 like this, with a piece of, put something in between with like a little grill and make it look like a light bar, basically from the front, like a mini light bar. And so that's the idea. And they may be a little bright, but I think there's something we can do about that. So first thing we need, these are meant to run off of 12 volts, so I'm going to need to get a power source. So 1 second. Okay, so I got a battery here. It's a 12 volt seal lead acid I'm going to use for testing with. I'll put some better connectors in here, probably power poles on here at some point. But I just want to give this a quick test. I'm dying to see how it works. So put the black here. We just kind of bodge this together for now. Let's see how that works. All right, so there's a controller here. We can turn it on. Oops, there you go. There's the controller. A little power light. It's a very flimsy, cheesy feeling controller, a little plastic box, but it's got 3 buttons, which I assume for different modes. So let's try these out. So A. Not bad. All right, what's B look like? Okay. And C is all together. All right. I think I like A. So this could either be arranged, if I make this into a light bar, I could either put these 2 together for kind of an alternating thing like this, or maybe I want to switch these. I think I like that. So I think I'll do something like this. I can mount it, they have let me turn this off so you can see. It's probably blinding the camera. So there's these little brackets. They could be screwed to something. So these could all screw to a board. So I can make a little thing in the middle that looks like where, a tiny little siren would go or something. This control box could be Velcroed near the handles of the push handle on the wheelchair. And I think we've got something. Yeah, for real use, if we're really going to use these on a personally owned vehicle for a volunteer firefighter or something, they don't look like they're super well waterproofed or anything. They're, I don't know that I want to use these for any real application, but for this they're perfect. They were really cheap. So, and they have little connectors which come apart. So I think what I might do, those do seem like they might be a little bit bright for this kind of application. You want to have, don't want to blind anybody. Just want to, you want like a real emergency vehicle. You want very bright lights, but this is just for a fact. We don't really want to blind anybody. So I would use, what I might do is put some resistors in line to dim these down a little bit. I'll have to play around with that and see what I can come up with. But yeah, I think this is going to be good. I could even actually probably get connectors and make a little stub that plugged in between here and the controller box with a resistor in line. Dim that down, but yeah, I think this is going to be good. I still have to wait and see what the other when the other item comes in, see if that might be better, but if not, I think this would do just as it is. Wonderful.